Boker Tov, we're continuing in Shira Shirim, Perek Hey, Pasuk Gimel. Pashati et kutonti echa chayel bashena, rachatzti et raglayecha hacha atanefem. So this is kind of like the story line. And last pasuk was that because Baruch Hu Kaviyachol is knocking on the door, right? We started off Ani yeshena v'li bi'er. So this is talking about Bnei Yisrael. We're asleep, and Hashem is knocking on the door. Open up for me, pitchili. So now, this is Bnei Yisrael talking to himself. Pashati et kutonti. I took off my shirt already. Wow. How could I now get out of bed? I'm already in bed. I don't want to open up to Kadosh Baruch Hu. I already took off my shirt. How could I go and get dressed again? Rachatzti et raglai. I already washed my feet. How am I going to get them dirty again? This is Bnei Yisrael answering back in a lazy way. Hashem is knocking on the door. Open up for me, my love, my beloved one, please. And now he's lying in bed. How am I going to get dressed again? How am I going to get dirty again? I don't want to get out. So this as well, the Pirush over here says, is talking about the time that unfortunately when we had the Galut of 70 years of Bavel, and then we had the Zechut to rebuild the Bet HaMikdash. Ezra Sofer goes to Eretz Yisrael with Jews to rebuild the second Bet HaMikdash, and unfortunately Jews in Bavel, a lot of them didn't come. Remember we learned recently in the Gemara, a lot of that Leviim didn't come. It says there also a lot of Leviim didn't come. So people didn't come back. What happens? It says they got used to Bavel. I'm going to go back to Israel now. I'm going to dirty my feet. How am I going to go back? And this is the Nisayon for nowadays as well, that I remember always in yeshiva, they tell us about the great tzaddikim. I think Chafetz Chaim had a briefcase ready to go. Once Mashiach comes, he has his clothes ready to go. We have to have that mindset that Mashiach's going to come, we're able to drop everything, our businesses, our investments, whatever it is. Maybe Hashem will give us some time to take it with us, but ready to drop and go. So the people then weren't ready, and they stayed behind in Bavel. They were punished for that. Rashi explains, this talks about a person's general life, and he says, I already taught myself different ways, even though Hashem is knocking on the door, and Hashem, we talk every day in the Shira, Hashem loves us, Hashem wants us to come back. A person says, I taught myself, I'm already accustomed to different ways. Right? I can't come back to God. Whatever, I'm already older, I'm already this, I'm already set in my ways. I already took off my shirt, I'm put it on again, I'm already washed my legs, right? I'm already gone. And as well, says, I already took off the mitzvot from me. I'm going to put them on again. So this is unfortunately the reality of Bnei Israel's struggles and laziness in coming back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or being used to their ways. Okay, the Sefer Rokeach over here, we'll see more about it now. In Sefer Rokeach and the Gaon Vilna, the Sefer Rokeach says that this is talking about, I took off the clothing of me at Har Sinai already, when unfortunately we did the Chet HaEgel. I took off the clothing of the Bigdei Kehuna in the times of the Bet HaMikdash. Before the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, it was destroyed because we did negative actions, and we got worse and worse, and it got destroyed. And it says, Pashati, means I took off, I call Pashati, Pashat Taf Yud. Pashat, I took off Taf Yud. Taf Yud is a numerical value of 410. The amount that the first Bet HaMikdash stood for 410 years. Unfortunately, through my sins, I removed all that we built for 410 years. I removed that from me due to my actions. Then, the last part of the Pasuk, actually, the Rokeach and the Gaon Vilna, look at it as, how do I make myself tahor again? Even though the Pasuk says, Rachatzti d'raglayecha tanefem, I already washed my feet, how am I going to get clean? Truth is, the question is, why does it say two things in the Pasuk? I took off my shirt, how am I going to get it dressed? I washed my feet, how am I going to get it dirty? It's the same concept. It's poetic. So the Mefarshim say as follows. The first half of the Pasuk is, I took off my shirt, how am I going to get it? How am I going to put it on again? And then the second part is, how can I clean myself? Rachatzti et raglai. Wash your feet. How can I get them dirty again with sin? Wash your feet and do teshuvah and say to yourself, how can I get them dirty again with sin? So et raglai, rachatzti et raglai, wash et raglai is the same letters el taryag. Go to the 613 mitzvot. And that's what the Sefer HaKodesh says, I have to do teshuvah. How could I dirty my soul once again? The Gaon of Vilna says as follows. He says, if a person's wearing a garment, you can wear it for even a few days sometimes, an undergarment, whatever. This person can wear something for a few days, an outer garment. But once he takes it off, to put it back on again, imagine a person takes a shower, and put back a dirt. In your mind, it's dirty. What do you mean? You're just wearing that for 2 days. So how's that dirty now? But no. Once I take it off, then it becomes dirty again. So he says, so too. So he says, this is also like, unfortunately, in our time, we took off the mitzvot from us. So I'm set in my ways, I'm already in my ways. It looks to me so difficult, like a dirty cloth, putting it back again. It looks to me so difficult to get back into the mitzvot. But he says a person could do it. And he says that when a person is born and has surroundings, there are two things that affect him. His midot. He says, because also begadim is clothing is in reference to how a person acts. And when I see a person, I see who he is from the way he acts, from the way he displays himself. So a person gets midot in two ways. One is the way he was born, naturally, from his family, naturally. That's like teva, let's say. And one is hergel. What is things that he does over and over again. Maybe that's also through the surroundings. But if he does things over and over again, it could become part of him, even though he didn't grow up with it. He could do things over and over again. So he says, like this, the begadim are midot that you were born with, and raglav, from the word hergel, being used to things, if I do it over and over again, that's the midot shehur gilubahem. At the same time, there's two things that could push away a person from Torah mitzvot. One is lust, ta'ava. I love food, I need to, or I want to do this, I don't care, lust. And also, if a person has the midot, ra'ot from bad people around. So he says, you learn things from people around you. A lust, that's with you, even if you're by yourself, you could have this issue. The other thing, the bad people around, that's only when you're around bad people. Then you could get that. So he says that connects as well to these two types of midot. That ones that you were born with, that you got to fix. I was born with anger. What could I do? A person, Baruch Hashem, with children, you see each child has a different temperament. He was born more quiet. This one's born more loud. This one more has an anger issue. This one, they're kind of born like that. So within your teva, just like the lust thing you got to work on, there's things you got to work on. And there's things that a person develops because of the school he goes to, because of the friends he hangs out around with, etc. And that is something on the outside that you have to take care of as well. And as he says, is the two elements here of the kutonti and raglai. The clothing and my feet. My feet is the hergel, and the clothing is the midot that I grew up with. And he ends off by saying this concept as well, that he says a person could wash his feet off, and he could say to himself, how am I going to get them dirty again? I could be clean, and I could get away from the negative. And over here he says also, is we know from the Mishnah Pirkei Avot, just to end, is you have evim mitabek be'afar shel raglaim. Get close to even the dirt on the feet of the Talmidei Chachamim. He says, that's the dirt of your feet that you want. Get close to that dirt of those feet. You could make yourself tahor. You can say, how could I dirty my feet again? Which dirt, though, to get close to is the dirt of even the dirt of the legs of the Talmidei Chachamim. Bezrat Hashem, we connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We recognize that we could clean ourselves and to stay away from the dirty things and averot. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Chananya ben Akashya Omer Ratzak Kadosh Baruch Hu lezakot et Yisrael לפי החיים ועל המתרום שנאמר אדוני חפץ מן צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר